The average person spends hundreds of hours every single year cleaning. Think about that for a moment. Hundreds of hours, entire weeks of your life added up, scrubbing, wiping, vacuuming, and putting things away. And yet, somehow, the mess always comes back. The laundry piles up again. The floor gets dirty again. The counters disappear under clutter again. The bathroom needs cleaning again. The cycle never actually ends. You clean, you recover, you watch it slowly fall apart, and then you clean again, forever. Now picture a different home. Walk into a typical Japanese apartment on any ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Not a special day, not company's coming day, just a regular weekday. And it's clean, not sort of clean. Genuinely, quietly, effortlessly clean. The counters are clear. The floors are spotless. The air smells like nothing at all, which is to say it smells like a place that is simply deeply clean, and the person who lives there did not spend their weekend scrubbing to achieve it. They're often busy people, in small homes, with families and pets and full lives. Yet their home stays spotless, almost on its own. Here's the thing Japan figured out that most of the world never did. A clean home is not created by cleaning harder. It's created by building habits that make mess almost impossible in the first place. That's the entire secret hiding underneath everything you're about to hear. Japanese homes don't stay clean because someone is constantly fighting the mess. They stay clean because a handful of small, consistent habits mean the mess never gets a foothold to begin with. Today, we're looking at 10 Japanese cleaning habits that keep homes spotless, habits the rest of the world could adopt starting today, most of them costing nothing at all. Some of these you can begin tonight, before you go to bed. And I promise you, by the end, you'll understand not just what these habits are, but why they work on a level that most cleaning advice completely misses. And which one to start with first. Stay with me all the way to number 7, because number 7 is the one almost everyone gets wrong. And fixing it is the difference between a home that looks tidy and a home that's actually clean. But it only makes full sense once you've seen the 6 habits before it. So let's build up to it properly. And the very first one starts before you even step inside the house. The idea underneath all 10. Before we get to the habits themselves, you need one piece of context, because it's the thread running through every single one of them. And once you see it, they all click into place. In most of the world, we think about cleaning as correction. We let the mess happen, the dishes pile up, the dust settles, the clutter spreads, and then at some point, usually when it becomes unbearable or company is coming, we launch a big effort to correct it. Cleaning is the response to a problem that's already there. It's reactive, it's exhausting, and by its very nature, it guarantees an endless loop, because you're always waiting for the mess to build before you deal with it. The entire Japanese approach is built on the opposite principle: prevention over correction. Instead of letting mess accumulate and then fighting it, you build small habits and systems that stop the mess from ever accumulating in the first place. When you prevent instead of correct, something remarkable happens. The big cleaning session becomes unnecessary because there's never a big mess to clean. The floors stay clean because dirt never enters. The counters stay clear because nothing is ever left out. The bathroom never needs a deep scrub because it's never allowed to get dirty enough to require one. Every habit on this list is a small act of prevention. Each one, on its own, seems almost too minor to matter. But layered together and repeated daily, they create a home that essentially maintains itself. Keep that idea in mind: prevention, not correction. As we go through all 10, let's begin. Number 1, leaving your shoes at the door. Most people think of taking off your shoes as just a cultural tradition, a quaint custom. In Japan, it's actually one of the single most effective cleaning systems the country has, and it happens before you've even fully entered your home. Every time you walk outside, your shoes collect everything on the ground: dirt, dust, mud, bacteria, pollen, and traces of every surface you've crossed. Researchers who've studied this have found that shoe soles can carry hundreds of thousands of units of bacteria. And in most homes around the world, people walk all of that straight across their kitchen floors and living room carpets into the exact spaces where their kids play and their pets sleep. Japanese families do the opposite. The moment they enter, their shoes come off and stay at the genken, the dedicated entryway space designed for exactly this purpose. Here's why this is such a powerful cleaning habit, and it's the perfect illustration of prevention over correction. Floors in a shoes-off home stay dramatically cleaner because far less dirt ever enters. You're not cleaning the dirt off your floors more often. You're stopping the dirt from ever reaching them. That means less sweeping, less mopping, less vacuuming, and a home that stays clean at its foundation for days longer than it otherwise would. The mess is stopped at the door before it can spread and settle into everything. You don't need a special entryway to do this. A simple shoe rack by the front door, a small bench to make removing shoes easy, and a basket of indoor slippers is all it takes. Make it obvious and effortless, and it becomes automatic for the whole household. The shift: don't clean dirt off your floors. Stop it at the door before it ever arrives. That's number 1. Number 2, the 1-minute rule. This may be the simplest habit in this entire video and possibly the most powerful. The rule is straightforward. If a task takes less than 1 minute, you do it immediately. Not later. Not on a list. Now. Put the shoes on the rack, hang up the jacket, wipe the water around the sink, throw away the receipt, rinse the cup, wipe the crumb off the counter. None of these feel like cleaning. Each one is over almost before it began. And that's precisely the point. Here's the mechanism. And it's the heart of why Japanese homes stay spotless. Most messes don't appear all at once. They grow quietly from dozens of tiny tasks that get postponed. One item left out becomes 3, 3 become 10, and suddenly the whole room feels overwhelming, and you need a dedicated cleaning session to fix it. Japanese families break that cycle before it can even start. Instead of waiting for the weekend, they deal with every small thing the instant it appears. A few seconds here, a few seconds there. And over the course of a day, those tiny actions prevent hours of future cleaning. This is why Japanese homes so often look effortlessly organized. It isn't that people there are spending more time cleaning. It's the opposite. They're spending far less because they never let the mess accumulate to the point where it demands a big effort. The 1-minute rule is prevention in its purest, most repeatable form. Kill every mess while it's still a 1-minute mess, and it can never grow into a Saturday-sized one. The shift: a mess handled in under a minute can never grow into an hour-long chore. That's number 2. Number 3, everything has a home. Have you ever lost your keys only to eventually find them somewhere completely random and realize the real problem was that they never had a designated place to begin with? That single frustration reveals one of the most important principles behind why Japanese homes rarely feel cluttered. Japanese homes follow a simple, strict rule. Everything must have a home. Not most things, everything. Your bag, your jacket, your umbrella, your charger, your mail, your scissors, even the smallest household items each have a specific permanent place where they belong. Nothing is homeless, drifting from surface to surface. Here's why this is so quietly powerful. When every object has a designated home, putting things away requires almost no decision-making. You don't have to think about where something goes. You simply return it to where it lives. This removes the mental friction that causes clutter in the first place. Think about how mess actually forms in most homes. An object gets used, and then instead of being put away, it gets set down temporarily on the nearest surface. Because deciding where it should go feels like a tiny bit of effort. Multiply that by dozens of objects and dozens of times a day, and you get a cluttered home. But when everything already has a home, that hesitation disappears. Objects flow back to where they belong automatically, and clutter has far fewer chances to form. There's a related principle Japanese homes use to reclaim space, thinking vertically instead of horizontally. Rather than filling floors and counters, they use walls, hooks in the kitchen, hanging organizers, vertical storage, which keeps flat surfaces clear and makes even small rooms feel open and easy to clean. The shift: clutter is just homeless objects. Give everything a permanent home, and putting away becomes effortless. That's number 3. Number 4, they don't keep things they don't need. One of the biggest reasons homes become difficult to clean isn't dirt at all. It's stuff. Too much stuff, unused gadgets, old clothes, broken items, boxes full of things nobody has touched in years. The more you own, the more there is to clean, dust, organize, and move out of the way. Japanese homes are often smaller than homes in many other countries, and as a result, people there tend to learn something important very early. Every object has a cost. It takes up space, it gathers dust, it requires maintenance, and eventually, it becomes one more thing that needs to be cleaned. So Japanese families regularly remove things they no longer use, not necessarily because they're trying to be minimalists, but because fewer possessions simply create fewer problems. This connects directly to the deeper Japanese idea of danshari, refusing what you don't need, discarding what you don't use, and separating yourself from the emotional weight objects carry. And here's the mechanism that makes it central to keeping a home spotless. Every single object you own is, in a sense, a cleaning obligation. That shelf of decorative items has to be dusted, every piece. That crowded counter has to be wiped around. That overflowing closet has to be sorted through every time you need something. The less you own, the less there is to clean, permanently. Reducing your possessions isn't a one-time tidy. It lowers the baseline amount of cleaning your home will ever require, forever. A simple way to start is the one in, one out rule. For every new item that comes into your home, one old item leaves. This alone stops your home from ever accumulating more and slowly brings the total down to only what you actually use and value. The shift: every object is a future cleaning task. Own less and you clean less for the rest of your life. That's number 4. Number 5, sorting trash like a system. For many people, trash is simple. Everything goes into one bag, you take it out, problem solved. Japan sees trash very differently, and it reveals a lot about the culture's whole relationship with cleanliness. In many Japanese neighborhoods, garbage is separated into multiple careful categories: burnable waste, non-burnable waste, plastic containers, PET bottles, glass, metal cans, paper, and sometimes even more. At first, this sounds complicated, even burdensome, but the goal isn't to make life harder. It's to stop waste from becoming a problem later. When trash is organized correctly from the very beginning, collection points stay cleaner, recycling becomes far easier, and unpleasant odors are dramatically reduced. The mechanism here is the same prevention principle applied to waste. In most homes, trash is an afterthought. Everything mixed together, bags overflowing, the bin developing a smell, liquids and food waste creating mess and odor. By sorting waste properly and handling it as a system, Japanese households prevent the trash itself from ever becoming a source of dirtiness and bad smell in the home. It's another example of dealing with something before it becomes a problem, rather than after. There's also a mindset embedded in this. Japanese residents tend to see throwing something away as the final, responsible step of ownership, not just getting rid of it, but disposing of it properly and cleanly. And because everyone in a neighborhood follows the same system, entire communities stay remarkably clean, not just individual homes. The shift: handle waste as an organized system, and trash never becomes a source of mess and odor. That's number 5. Number 6, cleaning as you go, especially in the kitchen. The kitchen is where mess builds fastest in almost any home, and it's where the Japanese clean as you go philosophy shines brightest. The idea is simple to state, but powerful in practice. You never let cleaning and cooking become two separate events. The cleaning is woven directly into the cooking itself. Watch a Japanese homemaker cook, and you'll notice something. While something is simmering on the stove, they're wiping the counter. While waiting for water to boil, they're putting ingredients away. A prep bowl gets rinsed the moment it's empty. By the time the meal is ready, the kitchen is already almost clean, because the cleaning happened continuously, in the small gaps, throughout the cooking process. The kitchen is essentially never left in a state of post-meal chaos. Here's why this matters so much, and why it's a keystone habit. In most homes, the kitchen gets left messy after cooking. Dishes in the sink, grease on the stovetop, ingredients out, counters covered, sometimes for hours, sometimes until the next meal. And here's the crucial part. Mess gets harder to clean the longer it sits. Dried food cements onto dishes, grease on the stovetop cooks on further with the next use and hardens. What would have been a 10-second wipe becomes a scrubbing job. By cleaning as they go, Japanese cooks handle every mess at the exact moment it's easiest to remove, when it's fresh, and prevent the accumulated disaster that turns into an hour of kitchen cleaning later. There's a beautiful side effect too. A kitchen that's clean at the end of cooking means you sit down to eat in a calm, ordered space, and you're not facing a mountain of cleanup afterward. The meal ends in peace instead of dread. The shift: clean while you cook, and the mess never gets the chance to harden into a chore. That's number 6. Number 7, cleaning floors on their hands and knees. Here it is, number 7. The one almost everyone gets wrong, and the difference between a home that merely looks tidy and one that's genuinely deeply clean. Most people clean floors standing up, a quick pass with a mop or a vacuum, done from a comfortable height. Japanese schools and traditional households developed a very different approach, one that's been practiced for generations. It's called zokingake. Instead of relying entirely on mops or machines, people use a cloth and clean the floor while moving on their hands and knees. At first glance, this looks old-fashioned, maybe even unnecessarily humble. Why get down on the floor when you have a mop? But there's a profound reason this practice has survived for centuries, and it's the insight that separates surface-level tidying from true cleanliness. When you're down close to the floor, you notice things you'd never see standing up. The dust gathered in the corners, the small stains, the hidden dirt under the edge of the furniture, the grime along the baseboards. Standing up with a mop, you glide right over all of it, moving dirt around without ever really seeing it. On your hands and knees, nothing escapes your attention. You clean what's actually there, not just what's visible from 5 feet up. This is why number 7 is the one people get wrong. A quick standing mop makes a floor look clean, but it leaves all the accumulated dirt in the places you never look. And that hidden dirt is what, over time, makes a home feel subtly grimy no matter how often you clean. Getting close, even occasionally, catches everything. But there's a deeper lesson embedded here too. In Japan, many children learn this habit at school, where students clean their own classrooms themselves. The lesson isn't only about cleanliness, it's about taking personal responsibility for your environment. And when that mindset comes home, it creates spaces that stay clean not because someone is forced to clean them, but because everyone genuinely cares for the space they share. You don't have to clean every floor this way every day, but adopting the attention of zokingake, getting close enough to actually see, is what transforms a home from looking clean to being clean. The shift, standing up, you move dirt around, down close, you actually see and remove it. That's number 7. Number 8, cleaning the toilet every single day. In many homes, the toilet gets cleaned only when it starts to look dirty, which usually means it's already well past the point of being clean. Japan follows a completely different philosophy, and it's one of the clearest examples of prevention in the entire culture. Don't wait for dirt to appear. Prevent it. Many Japanese households do a quick toilet wipe down almost every single day. Not a deep, chemical-heavy scrubbing session, just a few seconds, a disposable cleaning sheet, a quick wipe around the seat and the surfaces, and that's it. The logic is beautifully simple. Removing a tiny amount of dirt every day is far, far easier than removing a large amount of built-up grime later. Because the toilet is wiped daily, it never reaches the stage where cleaning it becomes a dreaded major chore. It simply stays clean permanently, with seconds of effort. This is the prevention principle in miniature, and it applies to far more than the toilet. The general truth is this: any surface cleaned lightly, and often never requires a heavy, exhausting deep clean. The daily 30-second wipe replaces the monthly hour of scrubbing. And because the bathroom is often seen in Japan as a reflection of the home's overall cleanliness, keeping it consistently pristine becomes part of maintaining the entire living environment. There's also a psychological benefit. A bathroom that's always clean is a bathroom you never dread walking into and never feel guilty about. The small daily habit removes not just the dirt, but the low-level shame and avoidance that a slowly worsening bathroom quietly generates. The shift, a few seconds of cleaning every day, prevents the hours of scrubbing that dirt when it looks dirty guarantees. That's number 8. Number 9, the daily reset, leaving each room the way you found it. This habit is less about a single cleaning task and more about a continuous way of moving through your home, and the Japanese sometimes describe it as putting things back as you go. The principle: every time you use a space or an object, you leave it the same as, or better than, you found it, as a constant, automatic practice. You finish reading, you put the book back on the shelf, you take a blanket off the couch, you fold it back when you're done, you use the scissors, they go straight back in the drawer. You leave a room, you take with you anything that belongs elsewhere. None of this is a cleaning session. It's a rhythm, a way of living in your space that leaves it in order at every step. Here's the mechanism that makes this so effective. The average home accumulates dozens of out-of-place items over the course of a day, and each one represents a future task, a small piece of the mess you'll eventually have to deal with all at once. By resetting continuously, returning each thing to its home the moment you're done with it, you never allow those out-of-place items to build up. The home stays in a state of order, not because you periodically restore it, but because it's never allowed to fall out of order in the first place. This connects to a broader Japanese sensibility about the home as a space that should support you, not burden you. A home reset continuously means you're never walking into yesterday's mess, never facing a room full of undone tasks, never carrying the low-grade stress of a space that feels unfinished. Many Japanese homemakers do a brief, deliberate reset of the main living areas in the evening. Cushions back, surfaces cleared, anything out of place returned, so they wake up to a home that's already calm and ready, rather than one that greets them with clutter. The shift: reset each space the moment you're done with it, and the home never drifts into disorder. That's number 9. Number 10. Treating cleaning as care, not as a chore. We end with the habit that holds all the others together. And it isn't a physical action at all. It's a shift in what cleaning means. And without it, none of the other 9 can last. In Western culture, cleaning is often framed almost entirely as a burden, something to dread, avoid, complain about, and get through as quickly as possible. In Japanese culture, there's a very different understanding. The state of your home reflects the state of your inner life, and the act of caring for your space is a form of caring for yourself. Cleaning isn't a punishment or a chore you resent. It's a small, ongoing act of respect for your home, and by extension, for the person who lives in it. Here's why this is the most important habit of all, and why I saved it for last. Every single one of the other 9 habits requires that you keep doing it, day after day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. And nothing on earth is harder to sustain than a task you resent. If cleaning stays framed in your mind as a miserable burden, you'll eventually skip the daily wipe, abandon the 1-minute rule, let the reset slide, and the mess will come flooding back. But when you reframe these small actions as care, rather than chores, everything changes at the root. Wiping the counter in the morning stops being drudgery and becomes a 2-minute message to yourself that your space and you are worth the small effort. Taking your shoes off at the door becomes a boundary between the chaotic world and your calm sanctuary. Letting go of clutter becomes making room to breathe. When the small daily habits feel like care instead of obligation, you keep doing them, not through gritted teeth willpower, but because they genuinely make you feel good. And that is what makes a spotless home permanent rather than temporary. It survives your tired days and busy weeks because it's no longer a battle you have to win. It's simply how you live. This is the difference between a cleaning routine, which depends on discipline and eventually fails, and a cleaning way of life, which becomes effortless and self-sustaining. The shift: cleaning that feels like a chore eventually stops. Cleaning that feels like care never has to. That's number 10. Bringing it all together. So let's gather all 10, because the pattern beneath them is the real lesson. Shoes at the door, so dirt never enters. The 1-minute rule, so mess never grows. Everything has a home, so clutter never forms. Owning less, so there's permanently less to clean. Sorting trash as a system, so waste never becomes mess. Cleaning as you go, so nothing ever hardens into a chore. Cleaning floors up close, so you remove what standing up would miss. Wiping the toilet daily, so it never needs a deep scrub. The continuous reset, so the home never drifts into disorder. And treating it all as care, so the whole system sustains itself for life. Notice what connects every single one. None of these habits is about cleaning harder, spending more, or losing your weekend to scrubbing. Every one is a form of prevention, a small, consistent action that stops mess from ever getting the chance to build up. That's the real lesson behind Japanese cleaning culture, and it's almost the opposite of what the word cleaning usually implies. The goal isn't to spend more time cleaning. The goal is to build small systems that make cleaning barely necessary in the first place. When millions of people live this way, day after day, the results speak for themselves. Homes that stay effortlessly, quietly spotless, without anyone ever fighting a big battle against the mess. And here's what matters most for actually starting. You do not need to adopt all 10 of these tonight. Trying to overhaul everything at once is exactly the kind of dramatic effort that collapses within a week. Instead, do what actually works. Choose one, just one. The one that struck you most as you were listening. Maybe it's the shoes at the door, maybe it's the 1-minute rule, maybe it's the daily toilet wipe. Pick that single habit, Do it every day for 2 weeks without negotiating with yourself, and simply notice how much less there is to clean and how much calmer your home begins to feel. That one small win is what makes the next habit easy, and slowly these small actions stack into a system that runs almost by itself. Because a spotless home was never really about cleaning more. It was about a quiet shift from fighting mess after it wins to gently making sure it never gets the chance to. Now I want to hear from you. Out of these 10 habits, which one would make the biggest difference in your home right now? Tell me the number 1 through 10 down in the comments. And if this changed the way you think about cleaning, even a little, share it with one person who's tired of losing their weekends to a home that never stays clean. They might be just one small habit away from a home that finally takes care of itself. I'll see you in the next one.